Welcome to another edition of the Business and Personal Podcast, where we bring you closer to the people that you do business with and are doing great things in business. And today we're excited to be joined by Marcus and AJ, the co-founders of Synergy. There's a lot of layers to their company, and you might see their end product, but have no idea, what they're doing behind the scenes to make things happen. So we're going to shine a light on that today. So first of all, Marcus is joining us, and Marcus, thanks for taking some time today.
Thank you for having us.
So first of all, tell us, our listeners, this is the Business and Personal Podcast. So just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, your background, and what brought you to Synergy and what Synergy is all about.
All right. Well, the name says it all, trying to work together to create the best products we can. I started out in the business doing machine shop in high school. Had a really good teacher that encouraged that you don't have to go to college to make a good living if you earn a trade, and then also that college, many classes and courses teach you to work for somebody else. If you learn a trade, you can always do it by yourself and start your own thing. And many of his students over the 30 years he was there at Chippewa Valley High School own their own companies or are in the trade. There's probably 4 I know of in my graduating class that own their own companies, and at least 10 others that are still in the trade. So it's a pretty good track record, and to know that we don't have those teachers out there, or very, very few of them, is really disturbing, and one of the things that we're trying to work on, bringing up the next generation to understand manufacturing and be able to pass the torch. So Synergy Prototype, I started in 2011, after I was let go from the second company that I did sales for and project management and poured my heart and soul into, and then they had a change of heart as to whether or not they needed me, and I decided I wasn't going to let that happen again. And I left there, and I went and asked one of my customers if they were thinking about starting anything, and maybe I could help them start a prototype division and maybe own a small percentage, 5-10%. And he said, well, I'm not interested in doing that, but there was that job you just quoted. Was that your source that you had that quoted through? Because I think you said you were going to outsource that. I said, yeah, that was mine. I was like, all right, well, what's the company name? I'm going to write your purchase order right now. And the same day I got fired was also my birthday, September 19th. And I left there with my first purchase order, so started the company that day. So that was, talk about a roller coaster.
It's kind of funny when in life, when doors close, sometimes they're actually opening in a new area, right?
Yeah, especially when you make the decision, and that's what I try to take the most out of that. I made the decision that I was going to go do something on my own, and it started that day. So since then, we've built the company up to 3 buildings, 50 employees between the 2 main companies, and doing very well. Arwen and I met in 2016 and started learning more about additive together, and bought some used equipment and hodgepodge the cell together to do DED, direct energy deposition, laser cladding, and printing. And then eventually we built a CNC machine. Company started in the beginning of 2017 officially, and that company has grown exponentially each year since. Very substantial growth. Now getting into the laser heat treating, which Arwen's going to get into the details on a lot of that. And now we are here in 24, and I was approached by a guy named Clay Stevens to see what opportunities I might be interested with the plastics world. And so with his network and expertise in plastics and plastic tooling, molding, injection molding, and blow molding, we've now started Synergy Mold Technologies, focusing on 3D content inside the tooling to reduce time and cost, both aluminum and steel for prototype and production, plastic injection molds, and getting a lot of really good response from all of those efforts. We're well on our way to taking off with that company as well. And then we also recently partnered up with a guy named Rob Goodwin and purchased the One Design Boat Racing Experience, which is a company that's focused on teaching people how to offshore race and also doing corporate events that feature offshore race boats. And that's a very exciting thing because I've been offshore racing since 2015 and raced in these particular boats. And the guy who was trying to get that business to a lucrative state for many years just passed away last year. So me and another guy bought that, and we're making a go of it, and pretty excited about that. So, and after that, I'm gonna let Aravind take it away from here.
All right, after that great chat with Marcus, now we're joined here by AJ. He's another co-founder of Synergy. Not going to bother pronouncing his name. You can see it on the screen. You can pronounce it and spell it for yourself. I'm going to call him AJ for the purposes. Is that all right?
That works for me.
Always nice to find someone with a crazier last name than my own. So much appreciated. But anyway, AJ, so thanks for joining us. Give people a little idea of your background, how you joined up with Marcus, your connection with Synergy, and what the heck does Synergy actually do?
Sure. Thank you for having me. My background comes from mechanical engineering. I went to school at Houston, University of Houston. I did my master's in mechanical engineering, and ever since I've been working in laser industry. My strength is building the tools and building the equipment and processes for emerging laser applications. I worked for a laser company for almost 10 years before I co-founded Synergy Additive. Marcus and I, we met, we started talking. We saw a clear need to use the advanced laser processes to improve the productivity of local manufacturing companies. And that's how Synergy Additive was born. Marcus said, hey, I have a shop, I have some space in the back of the shop. We went ahead and bought a robot out of eBay, literally. And one of the big things to start this company was laser itself. And it so happened a vice president of a laser company is a good friend of mine, and he loaned us a laser and told us to pay him whenever we could. And that's how the company was born. Ever since, there's no looking back. We grew each year, we grew twice from the previous year. Now we have two facilities, one in Clinton Township and one in Grand Rapids, catering more towards automotive customers.
Well, Apple started out of a garage, so you've already got two facilities, so you're ahead of them. So it looks like the future's bright for you, huh?
Yes.
Well, definitely, no end for the demand for what you do. Manufacturing never stops. Give our listeners an idea, and just think of this in terms of a listener maybe that doesn't know the manufacturing world extremely well. An idea of the types of clients you work with, the types of products they produce, so then they can kind of tie it all in together of how Synergy helps them make their processes smoother.
Sure. So we do a couple of things. I would say two major technology avenues, I would call them. One, we call it laser heat treating. So what we do is we use lasers to make materials hard in a way that is substantially more cost effective. And how does it affect people around? Our processes can reduce so many steps involved in making materials hard that it saves substantial cost to the local die makers, local manufacturing shops, and make them competitive in a global space. And that's one of the things that we do. We also use lasers to remanufacture parts, repair parts, meaning instead of someone throwing away components, we can reuse them, we can add the metal and extend the life of these parts. And those are the two main things that we do.
Fantastic. So what areas do you serve? You mentioned Metro Detroit area, you have Grand Rapids location. Are you able to service clients around the world or around the United States?
So we are mainly focused in United States. Our clients include automotive customers. In automotive customers, all the major OEMs, they're now saving over 20% cost and building tool and die in United States because our process helps them to be more cost effective, more competitive in global space. That's one of the biggest things that we do. We also serve other customers. For example, we do a lot of marine work where a container ship has some worn out parts and it's not able to go back to in service. We can quickly take those big long shafts, drive shafts and other parts, add the metal, repair them, and give them back in a very quick turnaround, cost effective and quick manner. Other customers such as wind turbines, people with large wind turbines, the components wear out and we can go back and add the metal instead of scrapping them. So we handle a wide variety of industries, and we do a lot of oil and gas customers where the drill bits, they wear out and we add tungsten carbides and extremely hard materials of them. And then they can reuse it for several cycles. And then every time it goes back, it wears out, we can come back and add the metal and give them back.
So one of the challenges for you, I mean, it's great. All this technology is amazing as we see all this stuff emerge. One of your challenges will always probably be staying ahead of the curve and making sure you always have the most in-demand products and services available. How do you do that? How do you try to stay ahead of the curve and envision what the future is going to look like?
That's a fantastic question. I think these days you see the technology going at extremely fast pace. And it's vital for us to not just to survive, to contribute, you need to stay one step ahead. At Synergy, we focus substantial part of our work as well as substantial part of our spending in R&D. We have an active project going on with Department of Energy, where we are focused on building newer materials for the next generation applications, extremely hard materials and extremely wear-resistant materials that can sustain a substantial wear and damage. We're working on these technologies to build new materials. We also have expertise in building latest equipment for heat treating and other needs, where our team can analyze an application. Let's say a customer comes to us and say, hey, I have this problem. How can we solve it? We love challenges like that. We can build them a new equipment based on our understanding of the lasers and processes. We come up with a new process and equipment for our customers.
So that's interesting. It's not always a cookie cutter approach. You kind of take each challenge as they come, and maybe you learn something new along the way as you're working with someone.
That's absolutely true. In fact, every time we get these new jobs, sometimes we lose money, but that's not the end goal for us. For us is to learn from this experience and come up with the better products. And at Synergy, we continuously do a process improvement. Every time we have a process which is set in stone, we do a production and constantly try to improve upon our existing process. And that's how we're able to be profitable every year moving forward.
And precision is so key in what you do as well. So are you constantly challenging yourself to make your process more precise day in, day out?
So there are several aspects of it. We're constantly trying to push the boundaries of new materials that help us to solve more demanding problems. We're also exploring new ways. So, for example, we extensively operate with robots. Now we're trying to program them in a new ways. We're trying to understand how well we can use these robots to do things that have not been possible before.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, AJ. Do you have a specific success story in mind of maybe a client came to you with a big challenge that they were facing that you were able to solve? I always love closing with a good positive success story.
So what I can say is, we built a largest laser heat treating system in United States, in Grand Rapids. So we can probably say, Auto came to us and say they have these big massive dies that are heat treating. We're doing jobs here in Clinton Township. And then we realized that after COVID, the shipping costs went up pretty high. And we had an invitation from them to come to Grand Rapids and set up the facility in Auto, which is Stellantis' own company. So that's how we built a largest facility in the United States, which is one of the most technologically advanced laser heat treating facilities in the world.
Fantastic. Anytime you can be the largest of anything in the United States, that means you're doing some pretty awesome things. Anybody that's still listening here and still with us, AJ, probably pretty interested in the services that you have to offer. So, what is the best way for them to reach out to you and give you your next challenge?
They can call us, just pick up the phone and call. I'll be happy to answer any questions they have, even if they are not interested in our services right now. Just the fact that when we present the technology, a lot of times those neurons connect and they'll be like, I could use this technology for this, right? So you could call us or you could email us at info@synergyadditive.com. Someone will take care of you right away.
And all that information's on the screen for anybody that's listening to the audio version. Go over to the YouTube version and you can see all the contact info. Loves shining a light on, hey, you may have heard of a company called Synergy, but had no idea what they do. So hopefully this educated you a little bit on the cool things that they're doing. So AJ, again, thanks so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.